Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode, and I'm finna get real, real raw and transparent because I'm gonna talk about how motherhood is the single most ghetto hood I have ever, ever lived in. It's the most ghetto hood. And I know that most times when you hear people talk about their children, they say how their child is, the best thing that ever happened to them, and their child is such a blessing. And, they have all these wonderful things to say about being a parent. But if I'm being totally honest, being a parent has not been wonderful for me. Being a parent really turned my life upside down. And just deciding to be a mother, sometimes I feel like I made a huge mistake. Not because I feel like bringing life into the world is a mistake or anything like that, but I didn't want children. I did not want children. I wanted to be the fine auntie with the money that hands out $100 bills at the family functions. I wanted to be the auntie that was well traveled and well spoken and well dressed and was the one that you could call to help you get where you're trying to go, because I had those connections. That's how I always envisioned myself. I never envisioned myself with children. And so when I was 24, 23, 24, I was faced with the decision to have a child or not have a child. Before that, I think about 2 years before that, I had a miscarriage that almost killed me. And so I was just really like, children are not for me. I was in a shitty ass relationship. I was in a really shitty relationship. And there was a lot of pressure on me to be a certain person based on the way that I was raised and how to handle certain things in certain situations. And I stayed in the relationship way longer than I wanted to stay in it. I stayed in the relationship way longer than I should have stayed in it. I was just an idiot. Like, there is no other words to describe it. I was a fucking idiot. I was stupid because I didn't even understand that there's more to being a parent than just bringing a life into the world and having them with you all the time. There's more to being a parent than just buying clothes and buying shoes and spending time. There's like your whole body changes when you get pregnant, or when you get pregnant, when you decide that you want to fulfill the contract to bring a new life into this world. You have to go through so many changes. Your body changes. Your internal organs change. Everything changes in order to accommodate this little life. And what you don't realize is once you bring this little life into the world, society tells you that you don't exist and you don't matter. Yeah, they do. And I've heard that from family members. I've heard that from friends. I even heard that from my husband. And that just blew my mind. And it also made me extremely angry, because how are you going to tell me that I don't matter as a person because I decided to give something or someone my time and my attention? That doesn't mean that they get to run my life and take me over. That doesn't mean that I'm any less valuable. And it doesn't mean that I am any less capable of anything. It was hard. Being a mother is hard. And being a mother is additionally hard when you have to do it on your own. You know, most times when we think of people having children, you know, you hear it takes a village to raise a child. I mean, you hear that. But where is that village when you actually need them? Where is that village? How do they show up for you? Because if you have a child who is sickly or has medical issues or things like that, people are not going to want to be a part of your village, because it's going to require them to do things that takes them out of their norm. If you have an emotional child that rages and throws fits, or on the other hand cries and is inconsolable, you don't really have a village to deal with that, because those emotions in a child is frowned upon by adults. So it's like, you know, you kind of damned if you do and damned if you don't. Because if you do have a baby, then it's your responsibility. That's your child. Nobody told you to lay down and make that child, you know, that's your bed, you lay in it. If you say you don't want children, you're still judged. You're still talked about like a dog. You still drugged through the mud. And that just made my trip into motherhood that much more hard. Nobody talks about how it changes you as a person to become a parent, especially a mother. Nobody tells you that people are going to treat you bad. Nobody tells you that the way that people treat you while you're pregnant, you never really get over that. Nobody tells you that. Nobody talks to you about that. Nobody talks to you about when you need help and nobody's willing to help you because you are in a relationship with someone who's not helping you, and your family feels like, well, since you have this other person, we shouldn't have to help you because you got this other person, or because you have these certain resources, we shouldn't have to do anything for you. What happened to you being the village? What happened to you being my village? I was an obligation because I was always told, well, you know, I had to give up all of this for you. And even when I was pregnant myself, you know, I was always told that, you know, you don't matter anymore. Once you have children, you don't matter anymore. Your individuality is gone out of the window. You're only as good as what you provide for these children. And that's just completely not true. Not to mention that there's a stigma behind needing help when you're a mother. when it takes a village to raise a child anyway. There's a stigma in dating when you're a mother, because if you're not with the father, then something has to be wrong with you. The reason why this man didn't want to keep you with his child. And on the reverse flip side of that, you know, if you've been in shitty ass relationships, you're able to see through these men and the fact that they don't really have too much to offer anyway, which is why they are so critical of you and what you're doing and what you're not doing. Nobody talks about the sleepless nights when you're a first-time parent and you don't know what to do and you really don't have anybody to call and you're just figuring it out on your own. Or just the stigma of needing help, period. People treat mothers who need help like they have the plague. And I just don't understand it. I never understood it. And the thing that makes it so much more hard is right now in my life, you know, my husband and I want to have children of our own, and it's not happening as quickly as I would like. And it sometimes gets me to a place where I feel inadequate because I'm able to have a child that I really did not want to have with a person that I really did not want to have children with. And now that I'm with somebody and we're at a stable place in our life and we both collectively want this and it is not happening. I won't say that I resent my child, because I don't resent my child. My child is amazing. He's like the light of the world. Not just the light of my life. He's like the light of the world. If you guys were to ever meet him, you would fall instantly in love with him. I don't resent him. I do regret having him in the circumstances that I did. And I'm okay with admitting that. For a long time, I felt so much shame. But I came today to have this conversation because I feel like it's a conversation we need to have. I feel like it's a conversation that has kept me in bondage by not being able to speak out about how I truly feel. And it's also a conversation that some people may not know how to have. I'm glad that I could be a sounding board or a topic of discussion or just somebody to laugh at if you don't agree with anything that I'm saying, because you might not. But motherhood is ghetto. What once brought me shame has brought me so much acceptance and power within myself. So I just want to do that for somebody else. It's okay if you feel like you need a break. It's okay if you feel like your children are getting on your nerves and you would probably be living a different life if you didn't have them. It's okay. It's okay to feel like you might be further along in life if you didn't have children. It's okay. But I don't want your children to become a hindrance for you, or the fact that you do have children, to become something that causes you to stop going after what you want to go after, to stop showing up for yourself and your family like you know that you should. We all do things that we don't really understand until we understand them. And maybe this is one of those things for you. I just want to let you know that I know that it's ghetto. I'm not afraid to say that it's ghetto. I'm not afraid to say that I wish I had done it differently. And I'm not afraid to say that if I had done it differently, I feel like my life would be different. I hope that I gave you some courage today to be true to yourself and to be authentic, and to know that even if your experience is not the most enjoyable at first, there is a way for you to make it enjoyable. And the way that you make it more enjoyable is to take the small victories and enjoy those. Take those small moments, take those small gestures, and allow them to be your motivating force for moving forward. Until next time, y'all, I love y'all, and I'll see y'all next week.